After a hard-won battle beneath Windmire Manor, and a night of well-deserved rest, the adventurers rose one by one to the scent of spiced eggs and baked bread drifting up from Greymere Tavern's kitchens. Wilhelm, Eldrelon, Shadowfang, Jojo, Ogblog and Dalamar gathered at their table. The morning suns cast warm beams across their faces as tankards of honeyed tea and sizzling breakfast were brought forth. Laughter was just beginning to return to their lips until the tavern door slammed open. In stomped a band of 6 dwarves, all iron-helmed and ale-bellied, their eyes red with drink and something darker, hatred. Their gaze locked onto Dalamar, the brooding dark elf seated quietly at the far end of the table.
"Well, well,"
one sneered, a scar splitting his cheek like a lightning bolt.
"Didn't think they'd let drow filth eat with decent folk in Hilltown."
Dalamar's expression didn't change, but his eyes glowed faintly beneath his hood. Without a word, he stood, raised a hand, and acid shot forth from his hand. Sizzling green orb of acid struck the scarred dwarf leader square in the face. He screamed as his beard began to melt, clutching his eyes and tumbling backward over a chair. The tavern exploded into chaos. The brawl was unleashed. Wilhelm was already moving, flipping the breakfast table into a shield as 2 dwarves rushed him. His axe clanged off a mug mid-swing before cleaving into one of the dwarf's shins, sending him howling into the floor. Oblog let out a booming laugh, drawing his sword, using the flat to bash a dwarf square in the chest, sending him crashing into the bar. Shadowfang vanished into thin air, reappearing behind a staggered dwarf with a quick jab of his hilt to the neck.
"We're not killing them,"
he growled, knocking the foe unconscious with a second strike. Jojo spun onto the table, lute in hand, fingers dancing over the strings. A discordant mockery erupted from his lips, magically amplified. One dwarf, stunned by the psychic insult, tripped over his own boots and face-planted into a bowl of porridge. Eldrelon raised his hand, crackling with restrained electricity. He simply sent a bolt into the chandelier, dropping it between the last 2 combatants. Sparks rained down with a flash of light. The dwarves dropped their weapons and stumbled out of the tavern, bruised, broken, and humiliated. But peace would not last. As silence returned, a scream shattered it.
"Ah!"
The party rushed to the windows, and what they saw churned their stomachs. A horde of blue-skinned goatmen, bestial humanoids with curled horns and jagged blades, were flooding into Hilltown from the eastern gate. Citizens ran screaming. Guards scrambled to rally. Shadowfang looked back.
"Dalamar!"
The dark elf remained seated, sipping tea.
"They're not my problem,"
he said flatly. Wilhelm snarled, not even bothering to respond, and charged out the door. Was beside him in a heartbeat, shield raised, blade gleaming. Eldrelon followed, eyes alight with magic. Jojo vaulted over the table, lute slung across his back, already conjuring battle magic. The goatmen rushed like a tide, but the adventurers met them with steel and sorcery. Wilhelm's axe sang through the air, each strike splitting through hide and bone. He fought shoulder to shoulder with Ogblog, the unlikely pair holding the street like a dam holds back a flood. Ogblog's shield absorbed blow after blow, his sword slashing out in brutal arcs, cleaving down enemies with methodical power. Shadowfang danced in and out of the fray, always striking from darkness. One moment he was gone, the next, a goatman's throat was sliced cleanly with a throwing dagger, the body falling before its blood could even hit the cobblestones. Jojo's spell swirled through the air, strumming power chords on his lute. Casting Shatter, the explosion of sonic force sent a trio of goatmen flying. Ears bleeding, weapons dropped. Eldrelon unleashed raw destruction. He raised his staff. A bolt of lightning surged from the sky, frying several beasts at once, their charred bodies collapsing into heaps of ash and twitching limbs. From inside the tavern, Dalamar sighed, then finally stood. He stepped outside, lifted a hand, whispered dark syllables. Shadows coiled beneath the feet of several enemies, then dragged them screaming into the void. Within minutes, the tide was turned. The last of the goatmen either lie dead or fleeing back into the eastern woods, vanishing amongst the twisted trees beyond the eastern ridge. The dust settled and the adventurers regrouped. A battered Hilltown guard limped towards them, bleeding from a cut across his brow.
They came out the forest,
He gasped.
from the east, near the old hunter's trail. We thought the woods were safe, but something stirred them up. Yeah, something big.
He paused to spit blood onto the stones.
There were more. Lots more. I saw 'em. Watching. Waiting.
Wilhelm looked towards the tree line, jaw clenched tight.
Then this wasn't an invasion. It was a test.
Dalamar's eyes narrowed, the faintest grin curling on his lips.
Which means the real danger hasn't even begun.
Eldrelon raised the glowing white orb from his satchel, feeling its faint pulse in his hand.
And whatever's coming, this thing may be what they're after.
The 6 adventurers stood amidst the fallen bodies and scorched cobblestones of Hilltown, the quiet aftermath offering no comfort. The town was saved for now, but the storm was only beginning to form beyond the trees.